it had to be by trying to force fights and trying to take weird engagements.
No. Maybe they thought the HellRaisers would just see their banner and think it was so adorable and kawaii that they couldn't kill it and run away. But that was definitely not the case, as HellRaisers were as angry as their logo suggests. And honestly, this opener just feels a lot more solid from them as well, right? You've got the mag, now you can just set up for a number of different heroes. Like usually you can see the things like the Faceless Void, Troll of course has been banned, Juggernaut, like there is a lot of options here in the second phase.
Yeah, and this is also just I think it's kind of nice. Like you're gonna have this Rubik plus Magnus lane into Spectre, and the thing is, like Spectre, he's quite sustainable, right? He doesn't really mind playing into harassing lanes, and I'm not sure what support he's gonna get, but he's fine playing into sustainable lanes. But this, you're gonna be laning against a Magnus with Empower and probably a Quelling Blade, and there's also gonna be a Rubik with a Fade Bolt. So ideally, the way to play against Spectre in lane has always been to have high damage heroes that just last it, because Spectre can't last it. His damage is not good. So all you need to do when you see a Spectre in lane in general is to just go there with some sort of lane where you can out CS the Spectre. And that's the way that you want to play. You don't really want to play around kills on Spectre or harassment. It's not as efficient, but just out CSing this guy in lane is it's not that difficult.
I love how elegantly simple you make it sound. It's like I could just see you doing some like short-handed little guide pieces. You just hit the drop down on Spectre and it says just hit him, lol.
No, 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 don't hit him. Hit the creeps.
Okay. Yeah. Just hit
Yeah.
everything but her, and
Yes.
then yeah. There you go.
Yes. Yes. I mean, after so many years of playing the game, you should have some knowledge of what to do against certain heroes, and also having played said heroes, you kind of know what you don't want to play against.
That's true. You've definitely been having your big brain moments, and behind the scenes, there's been those moments where I could just feel that heavy sigh. You're like, I don't get why they didn't just play their draft. Um, Hopefully we don't run into that issue this time around. It does feel like right now comrades have an opportunity to maybe apply more pressure early on, because the thing that you could say if HellRaisers is like opening free picks, they're quite defensive and quite focused on this idea of like make space for Mag plus whoever he empowers to farm.
We're gonna see. Okay, Morphling here, so this makes the offlane pick a little bit tricky. Uh, you don't want to pick just about anything into this. They do have the Lina though against the morph, so I feel like they need to pick something that doesn't just straight up lose to this morph lane, because if they do, they're gonna just be struggling really hard. Because I don't think that they're gonna win their safe lane. They can kind of break even if they're playing it well, but the Magnus Rubik should be doing well against Spectre Wyvern, Bane plus morph. Depending on what we get now, there's gonna be that Lina +1. I'm assuming it could still be a mid Lina. I'm not entirely sure about how I feel about the Morphling though. I mean, they have the Magnus, so the combo doesn't make too much sense. Yeah, you can empower the Morphling. He gets a lot of damage since he has base, like high agility. But okay, so Necrophos, Necrolina into more Bane. Hmm, I could see that go a little bit either way. It's kind of tough trading into the Necro, but if the Bane, if you can both keep hitting him without getting hit by too many Lina stuns, you can do well, I think. I'm not sure yet if this is gonna be a mid Lina or Necro. Could still go either way.
It feels like maybe comrades at this point have the easy options for setting pace, though, right? Like Necro or Lina should be able to play faster than like the Morph and the Magnus right now. It does feel like HellRaisers are lacking in the kind of playmaking and the early mid game presence, which of course they'll get a chance to respond to Comrades pick. So I guess what we're looking at here is what does Comrades lack? Because you could pressure lanes a bit early on as the Necro, right? But it's not the strongest of lane pressure.
I mean, I'm not even sure that 5Comrades have a better early game here. I think that it comes down a bit to the lanes. Like, Spectre is a pretty weak laner. She doesn't really take advantage of the early laning stage. It's just a hero that wants to kind of sit back and farm. And the thing is, 5Comrades, they don't really have any way of making rotations right now. They kind of got to wait until Spectre gets 6, and then he can maybe rotate with the ult. But both Magnus and Morph have escape mechanisms in the waveform and the skewer, so they shouldn't be too afraid. So I feel like right now, 5Comrades, they're lacking quite a few things.
Okay.
They can't really make rotations. They don't have the strongest lanes. They can definitely scale kind of well, but I mean, I would be really happy if I was in if I was HellRaisers right now, I would
Yeah.
feel good going into this final stage of the draft.
I guess the worrying thing is like you look at comrades, and you know you already mentioned it. It feels like we've bounced back to a lock, but it does feel important. Is like, is it Necro or is it Lina in the mid? Because like if you stick the Necro there, while it might be able to like hold its ground better in the mid game because they do have reach for Alina in the core role, this Necro is gonna get shotgun down pretty easily, right? Like there are very good heroes for countering him out. You can't just be elusive in these engagements.
No, exactly. Like Morph, I feel like it's a very nice Morphling game here. You're you love playing against Winter Wyvern, because of just E-Blade onto Cold Embrace targets. Playing
The
against Necro
morph
is
as
totally
well.
fine. Spectre doesn't really do anything to you. If the Spectre goes Manta Diffusal, he can kind of play up against the Morphling, but other than that, doesn't do much. And Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend is not the best hero against Morphling either. And
No.
I mean, if the Morphling goes mid, you have a good lane against him, but later on in the game, this SF Morphling matchup has never really favored the SF that much.
Does it feel like comrades are trying to give themselves more like pace in the early phases? Because like that's one thing you do get at Shadow Fiend is he is a hero that can kind of enable these earlier pushes, especially with something like a Necro. Like there's a lot of sustain for comrades, I guess is what we can hit. But as you said, like it almost feels as if there's this critical point where once you go past it, the Morphling can easily beat the crap out of the Shadow Fiend. He falls off hard, and then you're basically waiting around hoping Spectre is fat enough to carry you.
I'm just curious if this is gonna be one of the right-click SFs or if it's gonna be a spellcaster. To me, right now at least, it would make more sense if it was a magical SF, but not the player, but the build. But we'll just have to wait and see what the last pick is here. It's gonna be a Pugna. Okay. Yeah,
I
maybe not the like absolute best just straight up one-on-one matchup, but I do think this is it's a very nice game to have a Pugna. It kind of ups their tempo a little bit, allows them to go around with Rubik, Magnus, Bane, Pugna. They can take some early towers. Of course, the Pugna is very good against the Winter Wyvern and the Necrophos. Kind of
Mhm.
both with the whether it's the Curse or the Cold Embrace, you can decrypt your allies or you can decrypt enemy targets and kill them through Magic Burst. You have the Nether Ward, very good against all three of the intelligence heroes on the 5 Comrade side. And just overall, I think if he does okay in the laning stage, just a nice last pick.
Yeah, also it's like it's a free shotgun for Morphling in this game now, right? Like the potential for Ego to be involved at an earlier point instead of being like, oh, okay, I need E-Blade before I can make anything happen is now there. And
Hmm.
it almost feels like comrades are in this awkward situation where they kind of need Shadowfiend to maybe be like a bit right in the right click so they can pressure towers early on. But now that feels almost impossible with this Pugnet pick.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think that you can go for this right click build now. We'll see what he does. How the game plays out. You never really know. In general, I would say like when teams, I think generally when you consider the game, you look at the kind of how you would imagine the higher tier teams play the game because that's how kind of lineups that's how the thought process behind how a lineup should work. It should be, how is this lineup supposed to play when played properly? When you have teams that are not quite up there, you never really know how these things turn out. But to me, I feel like the SF need to he has to do quite well in his lane, and I also think that the Necrophos and Lina, they need to do kind of well against the Morph lane. I'm expecting the safe lane for 5 Comrades to be
Burns,
sort of a
doesn't
loss,
it?
not a huge one, but they should lose that one a little bit, and then it's kind of up to the other two lanes to dictate the pace of the game, I think.
That's fair. I think the other thing to maybe highlight is with this SF and this Necrophos, these are heroes that if they get roughed up in lane, they have been infamously known to be able to recover in the jungle, find farm, whatever. The concern you have is, and this is what makes the Pugna pick even better, is it gives HellRaisers that early presence that closes the map quickly. So if you aren't showing on lanes, if you aren't shoving out waves, you are going to lose these towers quickly, and all of a sudden, that recovery area isn't going to be there.
Hmm. Yeah, and like while I do think that the HR kind of have some nice tools to deal with the 5 Comrades lineup, they also have some like sometimes you talk about something like anti synergy, which is like this Magnus. Like first of all, he doesn't really have an empower partner. yes, you get like the 32% bonus damage on the Morphling, which is kind of nice, you know. It's off of base damage and attributes, and Morphling obviously has a lot of agility, so he's gonna get quite a bit of damage, but there's some kind of anti-synergy there. You want ideally a melee hero that can, you know, benefit from the cleave, and then you also have this Pugna Magnus combo, which is kind of awkward too, because, you know, like Magnus wants to jump in RP and then kind of rely on this right-click damage, and then there's this Pugna with the decrypt, so there is some potential for some awkward engagements for them. But yeah, we'll just kind of have to see how they play around those things.
Yeah, the other big thing is like they have to be careful the way they engage in the 5 comrades because of the Wyvern factor. I think that's maybe something we're gonna have to keep an eye on, is how much impact Davai Lama can have. As we've seen plenty of like games that can be decided by heroes like Wyvern, Shadow Demon. Like the team that has the stronger save usually, like in the past, has kind of historically been favored.
Yeah. And while I do think that this is a very good Morphling game, should the Spectre be allowed to kind of just farm and get to his Radiance at some point, I do think it can get very dicey for HellRaisers, because this like Bane, Rubik, Pugna, these are 3 heroes, and even Magnus, when Spectre haunts and there's a Radiance, you need to run. The way these heroes want to play is, you know, they want to play, Pugna wants to sit at the tower and nuke, and he's susceptible to kind of getting burst by the Wyvern and by a few other heroes. And Magnus, he wants to jump in, but when Spectre haunts, and if you're getting gold on, then you have some big issues, because you have to retreat, and these heroes are not the best at doing that. And both Bane and Rubik are kind of susceptible to dying to the Spectre, so if Spectre gets this Radiance at, you know, like, and the game is kind of even-ish, I think that 5 comrades definitely have a good chance. But we'll just have to see if that happens.
That's actually a fair point, right? It's like in that comparative environment where HR are not like stomping ahead by 2-3K around that point, you have got the situation where HR's counterplay isn't that strong. Like, yeah, you could always skewer in to try and do an RP, but the Spectre Horn alone, and then also if you talk about like the counterplay on the other side, they've got these Lena stuns that you get a lot of range with when you've got the A4 online. You've got the Winter's Curse, you've got these Cold Embraces, you've got the Fear AoE from the Requiem as well.
Yeah, and I wouldn't really be surprised, or if anything, I would think it could be quite nice if, you know, Magnus just goes for a bit of a more like aura build. He could just go for something like pipe into Greaves or whatever, you know, like just some
Cookie cutter
casual
off lane,
auras. I
right?
think just, yeah, some standard, because the thing is like this in general, when you're playing up against Spectre, like Spectre has always been known as this sort of counter tool towards heroes like a Shaker and, you know, Magnus, just heroes that want to initiate fights with their blink. You press your R, and then these heroes can't do that anymore, right? Then they have to wait, and by the time that the haunt is done and your blink dagger is able, the fight is generally shifted so much that you can no longer get these RPs or echoes that you want, or you're just getting gold on yourself. So wouldn't be too surprised if he goes for something like an aura build, whether it's, you know, pipe into something else or force staff, etc. Yada yada.
Is there
Could be
room
fine.
for like a right click build maybe on the Magnus? If he gets like a good start to his lane, could you see him going that route, and then they have like, you know, 2 hard hitters in that mid late game scenario?
I mean, seeing that it's Funnick, I could see him go for some sort of right clicky build where he just kind of controls. Like, I would see him go for a build where he's strong enough to deal like early on to be kind of a presence, a threat, you know, like in terms of just staying on the map with treads and a bracer and some stuff like this. But I would be a little bit surprised if he went further into it, you know, like that's where I feel like this kind of anti-synergy can kind of kick in a bit more.
Yeah.
Where if he decides to go for this right click build, and then, you know, he wants to deal damage, the Pugna wants to deal damage more of too, it could get a little bit wonky. But, you know, I wouldn't entirely put it past him. So
Yeah, I guess my thought process was kind of linked to the idea that often Pugners reach a point where they switch over from being like this tempo setter to medic Pugner, right? And then in conjunction with that, this is a really good Silver Edge game, right? Like for the Spectre factor. So maybe that's an option because you can go the Echo Saber into Silver Edge route, and all of a sudden you make sure that this Spectre feels like paper every fight.
yeah, I don't know. It's just such an awkward item for the Magnus to buy, I would say. You know, you don't really want to get like a Silver Edge up until you're like, you know, 6th or 7th slot, I would say, in general, as a Magnus, because how you want to initiate, you know, like you don't necessarily want to, with this Magnus, run up to some guy and hit him with Silver Edge. maybe you can blink or skewer in, get some RP, something like this, and then use your Silver Edge. But then you kind of already used all your spells, and you don't have more tools. So I mean, you know, anything can happen, but I would be very surprised if you went for some early Silver Edge. As I also think you don't like, you know, your focus won't necessarily early on be dealing with this dispersion of a Spectre. I don't think that's going to be an issue very early on.
Yeah, maybe like as a fourth or fifth item. It feels like on the list of important things, something like a BKB, maybe before that stage in the game is going to be important for him. So.
Yeah, BKB pipe, you know, something to kind of just help out.
Whereas when you look at 5Comrades, yeah, we've already highlighted what the Spectres like to do in this game. Really is going to be curious to see if the SF goes the way we're expecting. I feel like the more we talk about these drafts, the more strongly I feel that it has to be the caster build.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how he does in the lane. It's just, you know, like, what I see is, you know, if you go for this right-click build, so going the right-click build against Morphling is very tough because you can almost never kill the Morphling through right-clicks, right? Like, he's always just going to be able to either waveform out or just start morphing attributes. And so you can't really kill him. Yes, you can kind of kill Rubik and maybe Bane, you know, like, bringing down a Magnus with right-clicks is also difficult. And then there's Pogna, right? Going right-click build into this Pogna with a decrypt, I feel like you're just gonna be, you know, you're not gonna feel amazing. You know, he's gonna decrypt you or his allies, and you're just gonna stay there, and you're gonna look stupid. And to me, it just seems awkward. Whereas at least with the magic build, you know, you can play this, the bots, you'll blink BKB, whatever it is. You know, you can get some maybe solo pickups on the morph if he doesn't have Linkins. You can maybe set up kills on the Magnus or Pugna, and you can create some space for your team.
Yeah, it feels like for Comrades, whether you like it or lump it, you have to push yourself very heavily into like the reliance on magical damage in this game. Whereas, yeah, HellRaisers, they have a little bit more flexibility in whether they can choose to prioritize physical over magical. Through their iron builds, at least. We have some connection issues. Looks like Ego's now taking his turn. He's like, oh, I feel bad for Comrades. They're the ones with the disconnect. I'll join him on this one. Hopefully not too long of a wait before we get in the way.
Maybe they just play 4v4.
There you go. I mean, that is the reasonable one.
We don't have a mid player. We don't have a carry. Maybe let's just go play the game. Maybe we could just join a team each and just maybe they'll, you know, accept one of us or two of us. And
who's the disadvantage in this like situation? It's probably, I mean, probably HR would be at a bigger disadvantage with lost the Morphling compared to the SF in the. So I'll be the SF.
What a surprise!
Okay, you be the SF and I'm the Morph.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I mean, you know, as the SF in this game, I'm not going to get to do anything between the decrepifies and the lockdown control, so...
Right, fine. So you figure that your lack of impact is better suited.
It's a case of, like, the expectation factor, right? Like, you know, you don't want to you don't want to disappoint people. You can come in and hype this crap up, and then you just, like, the cool thing is going to be like, yeah, guys, we've got this. Don't worry, I'm badass. I'm going to carry this. You thought Taki was good? Watch my SF. And like, guys, I don't want to say it was the draft. I mean, they counted me so hard. I absorbed all these spells, so a Spectre on a Necro didn't have to.
Yeah, I mean, so you're just going in with the mindset that, you know, like, you're already gonna fuck up. I like that, you know. It's
I'm
very, very, very positive. Like positive mental attitude all the way. You know, like going into the game, you're like, oh, fucking hate my allies. We're gonna lose. You know, this draft sucks.
You're like, I'm clocking in. You can already hear me filling up my drink. Like, you know, we're in triple shots straight away. I'm like, I already know how this one's gonna go, boys. It's okay. The alcohol will numb the pain and the judgment that will come out of you and everyone watching.
Yeah, fortunately for you, we're not gonna have to go there, as both players now have reconnected. Oof.
Thank God. Would you have been cozy on the morph? I don't feel like I've seen you play a morph for quite a hot time.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's been a minute, but I mean, I used to play a lot of morphing back in the day. That was one of my early go-tos, I would say.
Wasn't that back in the days where there was a mana cost on shift?
Ooh, no, I mean, I played the morph in more recent times than that. But
okay.
I think the initial, I mean, one of the first morphlings, like one of the early morphlings that I played, that's when you could replicate and you got this illusion of an enemy or an ally, whatever, and then you could teleport morph through it, and you just went bots and you just split the map. I mean, that was the good old days with morphling. And then they changed the ult. I think that the change to the ult was really good though. You kind of became a Rubik. Now you don't have the double health bars, which is, you know,
That needed to happen. That was
that
absolutely
definitely needed
broken.
to happen. Yeah, it was very broken. So at least there's that.
And then, of course, there was the tweaks around the Aghanim situation, right? Because at one point you were just having Shake and Morphling every game.
Yeah, that also needed to go. One too many jumping around Morphlings with the plus 900 damage into right click into E-Blade, dead 5 heroes.
It felt like one of those, hey, that looks like a Morphling watches a Shaker do it one game, like, hey, that looks fun. I want to be fun.
I
And
mean,
then
it's like when you had like, you know, there's like every single day there's like 5 new clips of some guy playing Morphling with Shaker, and he's like, wow, I got a rampage, and you're just like, yeah, wow, you know, good job, man.
and
No
then you
one's
watch.
done that the last hour.
What was it? I think TNC. I think they won the
Yeah.
majors with that combo as well. I remember just memeing out about the Water Boy. It was like, you know, obviously well played. It's not easy to win a major, but it said a lot that they kept using that combo so much.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna see now here. It's top lane. Comrades, they kind of have the ability to outrange and hit from a bit far. But I think that HR, once they get a few levels, they should be able to just kind of trade decently.
It's not as easy for Miposhka in terms of like this duel, right? Like I feel before the changes came out to Bane, you'd probably favor him at the level 1 battle with Alina, but you can already see how he's feeling the pressure a lot more now.
I think you're actually still supposed to be coming out, if not ahead, then at least even. But I think his initial movement kind of made it so that he was already a little bit low and thus unable to man up. And also, obviously, there's the Necrophos versus the Morphling. At this point, the Necrophos is much stronger and helping out in these engagements. But yeah, now you can see kind of the Lina getting bullied here, and he might actually go down.
Very far, keep him up and alive, just about. I don't know if he's got a salve on the way. Oh, it doesn't look like it. So he's stuck here with just tangos. He'll have to just limp over to Bloody Sky every once in a while and say, please press Q. Mid lane so far is even, so Taki has been able to get his early CS, but I think this starts to get a little bit frustrating for the Shadow Fiend around, like, what, level 5, when the Neverwoods do start to hurt a decent amount? Or the Nev Blast, rather?
I don't think he's going... Yeah, I think he's just going to go for the Blast build. I think he should be fine. Don't think he should be any danger here. For the SF, I think you can kind of just go and farm jungle if you want to. You can just push the wave with your races. Overall, I think he should be just A-okay.
And it's critical that you're quick doing that as well, because of course the frustration of Pugna is that type of hero, you leave lane for like 5 seconds, all of a sudden he's chipping away at your tier 1 tower.
Yeah. I'm not really expecting... You know, there can be kills in this Pugna SF lane. Bottom is where it's happening.
Alright, and there should be a return kill, or will there? King R is still alive, Exotic D is trying to finish him off, so he'll get the kill in the end. Ponic has got the drive back from the Shockwave, and he gets on top of him, nicely done, so he should be able to finish this off and get a double kill.
Yeah, this is really scary, man. If you're 5Comrades, this can get spooky quickly. I think if Magnus gets off to too good of a start, there's gonna be a solo kill on the mid lane by SF.
Okay, I mean that's kind of critical here, right? Because you look at these heroes and you think about the volatility potential. Like Shadow Fiend is that type of hero. When he gets 1 kill, it can very quickly snowball with a slight XP advantage.
Oh yeah, definitely can. And it means that he's gonna get faster to his bottle. He's gonna get level 5 before the Pugna. And he should be able to trade. Okay, Pugna does have his bottle anyways. But yeah, you should be very happy with this, obviously.
And, you know, it's something he needs at this stage, because obviously the frustration factor when you don't have your bottle yet is Kasani is just stopping you from getting so many CS because of Decrepify. I think he's denied like 2 or 3 of the range creeps so far.
Yeah, we're gonna see Rubik make some sort of a rotation. Maybe he's just gonna try to get the rune, or he might even rotate in towards the mid. Maybe try to get a kill on the SF. He is getting a little bit low here.
Well, rune is bot.
Actually.
So Taki just has to run the hell away, and rune should be secure for Kasani to go take. It is haste rune, so if you are the Shadow Fiend, you need to be incredibly careful.
Yeah, fortunately for him, there is gonna be a bounty coming up kind of soon. Pugna, though, a little bit scared with that haste rune.
Cool. A lot of fighting going on. Bane dies, but they found the bigger kill on the other side as Ego not only gets the courier, but gets the owner as well as Necrophos goes down. And Flash, maybe not long for this world. It looks like he's able to move away, though. Sonic and the bot lane being pressured as well.
Yeah, except for this mid lane, the lanes are going very well right now for HR.
That's going to get better.
Very good time down here.
They weren't quite able to get Divine Llama. I mean, this is kind of the frustration, right? Is when Funnick's left alone this long, when you think about Spectre plus Wyvern, you have got the slows to hold him in place and slowly kill him off. It just feels like Funnick is already hitting too hard for that to ever be the case, though.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his damage, right? He's sitting at some 83 plus 44. He's like at, what, 127 damage. Whereas the Spectre is sitting at 66. So, doubling up the Spectre in the damage department right now. And, yeah, you can see, you know, he's pulling ahead on the CS. And on the net worth too, Magnus sitting on the top. Followed by actually Pugna and Morph. So, Pugna somehow managed to get ahead in net worth of the Shadow Fiend. He might have had to ferry out quite a bit of region on that Shadow Fiend. Like a lot of mangoes and such.
Yeah, so I think it's Mango's plus being forced into the jungle a little bit earlier than he'd like to, right? So I think you missed one or two of the waves.
Yeah, it might have been a few bounty runes too, potentially. But yeah, HR doing well in terms of net worth at least in all three lanes. And we're gonna see Pugna now. He's gonna start to pressure this mid tower a little bit. He did go for the 3 points in the Cripify build here.
Yeah, he's really focused on slowing down the CS. Although this might bait and Taki in if he's not careful. The haste, the move forward, they've made this way too obvious. Divine Llama is here to try and help. Life Drain will force SF away. More TPs are coming in. King R hasn't revealed himself just yet, so they might be able to catch the lean if they turn around. Kisani actually goes for the Life Drain play, dodges out the LSA. Flash has been spotted. They'll turn around for him now. They're able to hit the blast somewhat. Flash is brought low. Right clicks through. Nice LSA to buy himself some time, though. He needs to be careful. And Splint Blast is going to get Kisani low. It's going to be a trade, and it's going to be in favor of Comrades, as that is going to be support for a core. And Taki's not done just yet. King R. Try and move away. One more raise will bring him down. No! 5 HP. King R's going to live. For how long, though? He denies the rune. He knows he's going down. He at least ensures they don't get the bounty rune, though, realizing he's worth less. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
Miposhka has been sitting there. I think that's my favorite part about this entire engagement is Miposhka's like, well, I'm just gonna get some, some gold and XP. And now he's gonna get even more because Shadow Fiend decided to casually run up to a Bane. Not really sure what the plan was there.
Yeah, getting that, entire engagement, and they chase him down, and then in the end, he gets a double kill, and then he just Pugna comes right back and gets this easy kill on Shadow Fiend, and now Pugna 6k, not 6k, but 600 gold ahead of the Shadow Fiend, despite having 2 deaths.
Yeah, it's getting a bit rough. Did he actually get the final hit on the... I don't think he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. It was only worth 200 gold rather to kill Kisani. That's gotta be a little bit depressing. Funnick has got the RP, so they need to be careful about how they stack to try and get this kill to King R. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Ego does get brought down. And the Raze in the bot lane will secure the kill onto Rubik in the end. Needed to as well, because Taki wasted a lot of time coming down here. And look at the pressure in the mid. They already took out that tier 1 tower.
Yeah, so the Shadow Fiend, he goes bottom, he gets this kill onto a Rubik, but that's a Rubik 4. And the SF, he doesn't even... Oh, he did get the kill in the end, but Pugna takes a mid tower for it. And it's just not the best trade here.
No. They might get more here, though. Kisani and Miposhka have gone a little bit too deep. Flash has got the Invis rune. He's looking for the high priority target. I think this is the moment where you just TP. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, all right. Well, wasted a lot of your time. Bye. I like that he TP's bot as well. RP coming out from Funnick, by the way. Skewer across. He says, bring him to me, big boy. We'll share this kill. Moving in. Life drain. Delicious, but very quick meal for Kisani. But the beautiful thing about this TP isn't just the kill. It's now that they can pressure this tier 1 tower.
Yeah, and so you see Funnick. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier. It's like he's going for this treads into a bracer, and now he's queuing up the hood. We'll see if he actually, if he wants to commit to the full pipe. I wouldn't be entirely against it. I could see him buying something, in between. But once he gets this hood, he should be just like the boss of this game. SF is going for the Yule's magical build. So Magnus with these early levels and with some early hood, he's gonna be very, very strong.
Why do people keep coming here? They know how strong Phonic is. This is how deaths occur. Besides just waiting out. Crepify, life drain. See you later, Flash.
Yeah, and now the Winter Wyvern is stuck down here. He is not gonna be able to make it out here. I think your best bet is to just, yeah, try to push the creep.
Hit some creeps, panic, scream for TPs, and never get them.
Just get one more of those blasts out. There you go.
Kill.
At
It was
least
like
he
Case I
take away.
sniped the Courier as well. I think that had items on it for Davai Lama. He ain't got it just yet.
No, I think Kasani's courier died.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very small brain sometimes. Your big brain always supports me.
Okay, it's okay.
It's like the carry support role, you know. All right. Well, this tower is going to go down regardless, even though Kesai's Courier does get sniped out. Gotta be content with the state of the game. 2 tier 1s down already. Of course, I do feel like Ego, that solo... Well, it wasn't solo kill, but that pick off on the top was not part of the plan. Like, HellRaisers... You feel like at this stage, Ego should be known unkillable.
Yeah, it's just you sitting in this lane, and then, you know, there's this Necro. You're probably, you know, just trading, and you want to be as kind of like close to dying as possible without actually dying. And then
Jesus, that's a
you
dark
tank
outlook.
maybe one Lina stun from the fog, and then you're just dead, you know. You're so focused on this laning. And
Uh-oh. Oh,
Bane
he
does get a
tanks.
6.
Yeah, and there was a stun tanked by Phonic as he was able to back up, but the moment they saw him in Poshka, they went, now the horn in. They're looking to punish Phonic. He has got the RP, but his teammates are on the way. If he can buy, like, maybe 5 seconds here, it's good enough. Skewer across, brings Lina with him. Witness Curse is out, and that's enough time that HR are arriving. Never Blast, Life Drain going down. Flash is gone. RP on the free. Phonic now with the big damage coming out. The follow-up is good with the stolen LSA, and that will trap them in place. Exotic did get stunned by Intaki. The Requiem is coming out, but it does nothing to stop HR from getting themselves 4 kills here in the top lane.
Yeah, some big brain Phonic plays right there, and he's level 10. He has the pipe almost completed, and at that point, man, you gotta worry for 5Comrades here. They're gonna be lacking some serious damage. Spectre not packing much of a punch. Guess he had a really rough laning stage. Double Wraith Band Treads, and then there's just a bunch of magical damage on 5Comrades and into this pipe. It's gonna be rough.
And I respect that Exotic is going for this drums build, but there is a concern of like how you now deal with HR. Whenever they have RP, I feel like you just can't fight them straight up.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's gonna be so much of a RP. I mean, they just walked into a 3-man RP.
I mean, like, look at Phonic. Look at Phonic.
Oh.
He just gets a double kill. Okay, you throw everything with the kitchen sink at this Magnus kill. You don't get this Magnus kill. You, in fact, give him 2 kills, and that is his pipe complete.
And there's gonna be a grip bottom onto the Spectre. That Spectre, they're just losing heroes left, right, and center, as they say.
Towers as well. I mean, Kisana's keeping the pressure up in the top. Ego is already starting to chip away at this bottom one as well. Like, this is HR's map, right? They've planted a flag not only on the map, they're starting to plant it in the corpses of Comrade. As you can just feel this entire map shrinking. The safe zone is not long away from just being their base, if they're not careful.
Yeah, and you gotta think, like, I mean, at least to me, what I can see is, like, when you early pick the Spectre, you know, you're so susceptible to this happening. You know, whether it's a Magnus or another hero that sits in your lane and farms and is very content, I feel like picking Spectre this early, it telegraphs too much. Like, if you're unable at least to, if you can somehow, you know, like, if you know you can pick some heroes in the secondary phase, which will secure at least, you know, the one lane. I mean, you can't play knowing that you're gonna lose 2 out of 3 lanes unless you have some very elaborate plan with, you know, like maybe Magnus Jug or something like this, and you can sometimes get away with it. But you can't go into the game and just lose lanes.
No, this is starting to feel like one of those strategies I have to rely on my games, where it's like maybe they'll do something stupid. Because right now, like, HR, they don't have to split the map. They can just start to close out these towers lane by lane, right? Like, you can see how easy it is for them to shift between. And thus, the pressure is on Comrades to, like, expose themselves in these lanes, dangle themselves essentially near the towers of HR and hope that they can split their forces up. And I don't know if they want to.
No, splitting against the HR is it's pretty scary, right? They have Bane with the grip. They have some potential for Pugna to come in and decrypify, blast. There's a lot of magic damage on HR. Even though there's no E-Blade yet, there's still a lot of magic damage. They're gonna initiate.
They got on Funnick. All right. Well, let's see how this goes. Last time it wasn't too well, and they'll use the scythe. It's not getting him. The RP comes out, connects on the two drags, another one close. The reinforcements are coming. Life Drain goes out to Flash. And Tucky on the side of the Yules to scare off Bane, though. It's good enough to bring him down. It looks like it has worked out. HR maybe overestimating how tanky Funnick is after that last engagement working out. And King R, he goes in. He's trying to get a kill on his god. He can't. The Life Drain does come out and allows him to get a kill on Necro, though. But that's a 3-for-1 exchange. You did use the RP as well. And there is going to be a concern that HR, next time you want to make these sort of plays, you might want to have a Morphling nearby.
Yeah, and you also don't really have to make those plays, I think. I think that was kind of just very greedy by Funnick. He, like, he's having such a good time, and then he just goes and he's gonna hit, the enemy's ancient camp. When they have this tier 1 tower up top, they have their mid tower tier 2, so this area is still kind of theirs. They don't have any vision in this area, and even Radiant have a ward there, so it's just, like, very greedy to go there and fight in no vision, so near, like, 2 towers for the enemy team, and the Morphling being very far away.
It's definitely quite the oddity.
Yeah.
So they've gone somewhere safer for kills now. They do actually find Davai Lama pretty deep.
Yeah, and we're gonna see Exotic Deer make some very strange ideas here on the bottom lane. He goes up and loses half his HP to a Morphling.
Team mid though. Kasani, gone. He almost gets the kill on the Flash, but it's not enough. Alright, HR is starting to get caught not looking here. As once again, because they haven't got reinforcements nearby, they get punished.
Yeah, caught with their pants down.
That is the way of looking at it. Someone forgot to put on a belt this morning.
We are seeing Morphling has picked up the Lincolns now, so good both against, well, I mean good against the Wyvern. It works against the SF with the Yules and
Speaking of that Wyvern,
a few other ones as well.
poor Davai Lama can't get a break. He only just got back up, and he's back down again. Movement in. They do see the Bloody Sky. They'll get him low. Funnick has got the RP in 5 seconds, but it looks like Bloody Sky won't hang around.
Yeah, they're not super keen on just committing too hard onto that Necrophos, as he might pop a mech and some heals, and
Oh,
you never
push
know
up.
what might happen.
He's gone. I mean, it feels like they're not respecting just how much burst there is on the side of Comrades.
Yeah, getting a little bit maybe overzealous, but I mean they lose a Bane, and it's not the end of the world. Rubik actually gets the stolen Laguna Blade, so he's gonna have that in the next fight most likely. Magnus now has picked up a Blink, and I think this is actually fine to do once you have the pipe already, because you can always just pop your pipe before kind of the fight starts, and
We're about to see it.
whatever.
RP under 2. He's holding them in place. We'll skew them back now. Controls them up. Then when this Curse is going to go down, only connects on 2 though, so King R isn't going to die off. Requiem in the tree line is good. Laguna is enough to bring down the Wyvern though. Rubik is going to be killed off in response. Now Shadowfiend needs to retreat. Life is going to go down onto the Bane, gets rid of him, but now Funnick chasing up, looking for a kill on the Flash, but can't get it. He's too fast with the Fiery Souls. He turned around, moving on top of the Shadowfiend, and will bring him down. Now Flash trying to return to the fight, trying to get an LSA out to slow down this pursuit. Will stun up Pugna, but it's not good enough. Bloody Sky is still going to die. They do get the SF out though, and Flash is going to lead them on a goose chase. But it won't take long. Funnick is there, Kasani is there. This double blink is already paying off, and they should be able to start fresh from these towers.
Yeah, this is just like, a full actual 5-on-5. We see the Blink RP onto 2 there to start off the fight. They don't really instantly get too many kills, but still the damage is done, and it's also just the fact that Comrades, they just don't really have enough damage anymore.
And they're
With
not
this
done.
pipe on the Magnus.
Comrades, I mean, this is the painful one to lose as well. I think he's going to get away with this, actually. I mean, you said, you said that they don't have the damage. It looks like HellRaisers, maybe without the Pugna, the damage just really still isn't there.
I mean, at the same time, right, you force the Spectre back to base. He has to run all the way back. He has no net worth. I mean, the Morphling is gonna somewhat soon be doubling him in the net worth department. And you're just getting out-farmed now as 5Comrades. And you need to invest so many resources to getting any kill at this point.
Whereas Funnick is just making this game look very easy. Yeah, he had that one death where he got a little bit too cocky, but like that moment aside so far, this series is really quickly turning into the Funnick show.
Yeah, I mean, what happens when you're in a position like this is 5 Comrades, they need to invest many heroes to be together to survive, right? But if you do this, if your investment is in numbers, then chances are you're just going to get out-farmed because these heroes are quite mobile. Like Pugna has the Blink Dagger, Morphling has obviously Waveform, Magnus with the Blink Dagger. They can split the map much easier. And so if you're sticking together, that means the Comrades can just split up. Sorry, that means that the HellRaisers can just split up. We're going to see a solo Requiem combo onto the Bane and a nice solo kill for the Shadow Fiend. But still, it's on a Bane.
Yeah, Miposhka's doing this, and he's aware that like the hit and miss is going to be maybe like a 20% success rate. But when he sits here and he's able to prep for Fiend's Grip combos onto like the SF, who's usually the one out there, it's going to pay out a lot more value in terms of net worth exchange than all the deaths he's giving over.
Yeah, I mean, should you get that kill on SF, obviously, you know, it's a very big win. You die with your Bane to a Requiem combo, you're kind of just like, whatever. And they still, they get 4 bounty runes. And they're still just splitting the map.
Yeah, and now they're going to try and reconvene. Like, look at this move from HR right now. They just see how many members of Comrade are here. They know they have to be close in the neighborhood, and Kisani moves in. Prep fight comes out, Spectre trying to escape. Sidesteps the LSA, but still necessarily used onto Wyvern. RP only connected on 1 for Phonic, but does get rid of the biggest risk here, which is a Winter's Curse. Because right now, HR realized that because Comrades don't have the damage to kill them, the only way they're going to die is if they're killing each other.
Yeah, and even though they just get a kill on the Wyvern, it's kind of just like... There are not that many plays that the 5 Comrades have right now. Spectre he's not even going through like for Radiance, so I'm not even entirely sure what is the idea behind this Manta style, because there's quite a bit of AoE damage on HellRaisers. So even though he gets this, I think he's still just gonna die. And this also means that I think they don't have to really be scared.
They just
on
caught
HR.
a biggie up top. Bloody Sky, his TP got cancelled by Ego. Ego wants to be a little bit careful here, but not too careful, as there's no chance for a Scythe kill. Instead, Necro just casually brought down. Look at that. Man, Sonny, that's the real reason he's show up here in the top lane. Good old medic Pugna. I agree on that point about the man style, though. It just feels like they don't... Like, who's doing your damage? Oh. Awkward interaction there, as King R did cancel Phonic Skewer. It's fine, though. They just keep the pressure up.
You're gonna be able to Manta dodge E-Blade, and then what? You know, that's kind of the thing, you know. Yeah, but I mean, even if you're not like, it's more like, how are you gonna kill them? You know, how are you gonna scale? Where's the fear factor if you're HR right now? You know, when you play against the Spectre and at least you see a Radiance, there's at least this threat where it's like, you know, like, oh shit, he has Radiance. Yeah, they have a pipe to negate a lot of this damage, but still, you know, there has to be a threat. There has to be something for HR that's like, oh, you know, shit, if we don't, then this might happen. But when you see this Manta come out of Spectre, it's like, okay, we miss all our spells, then what? Well, nothing happens because they don't have damage. They don't have scalability.
Doesn't it?
So, it's critical to point out, folks, when Pycat says fear factor, yes, SF does have a literal fear, but he means a reason why HellRaisers aren't just going to run wherever they want and do whatever they want. And you are right. It's like, where's your damage? Like, for real, on this lineup. Who is going to build your damage in the next even 10 minutes in this game, in this current state?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this damage is going to come from, you know, hopefully the Shadow Fiend. But is it enough?
No, because he's busy dying.
He's
a sad boy right now. I mean, next time we'll have his BKB, but I'm pretty sure in that situation, if you have a BKB, that's a TP away back to your base.
Yeah, that's also a BKB into Fiend's Grip, into you're still dead and you wasted your BKB.
Ta-da! It's a painful one. And like that, you understand why he's in that area as well. Someone has to play out on the map, right? That's the same thing the Spectre's doing. But that Spectre, now there was ability you mentioned a few moments ago, Pycat. I think we're about to see it. Ah,
yes. The good old Fiend's Grip into Decrypt combo into the Sucky Suck. Some good times for the Spectre.
I don't think Kaysani's full yet, though. He'll probably look for another kill, courtesy of Life Drain already being available again. And while that's happening, Flash makes it into his base just to die. This is...
Yeah,
we've reached that point.
And And like the thing is, like you want to think of ideas like what can you do here if you're 5 comrades. But I feel like with these item choices, I mean the SF going for his, the magic build, I think it's totally fine. Blink, BKB, Wolves, it's kind of what he needs. But I would like to see the Spectre go for something like, I mean, even honestly, even just get a blade mail. Just kind of go around and be this tanky boy and kind of just fight them. Take these stupid fights where HR might get really dumb and start hitting the Spectre. Maybe they do some move where Morphling kills himself. Like this is kind of what you have to play for, because trying to play some like orthodox, like some standard Dota when you're this far behind, it's just not gonna happen.
No, and they're trying right now. They're gonna pop the Lincolns. They're thinking about it. They're gonna go for the Scythe, but it doesn't even kill him off. He's still got the Aegis to play with as well. I feel like your choice to do that, the let's all press our buttons, is exactly why HellRaisers can immediately look to just push again.
Yeah, now they're the ones with the Reaper Scythe. They don't have Haunt anymore. There's no Reaper Scythe. There's no Laguna. SF still doesn't have his BKB. They're just gonna come back here with the Aegis on the Morphling. He regions up to full thanks to the Pugna.
And Davai Lama. Good luck, my friend. You need one hell of a winner's curse to get them away. Hey, look! He does wyvern things too! This shotgun looks a little bit more scary. And all you can really do is watch. I like the Spectre's not here. Like, they've identified all you do is slow this push and maybe try and get something on Spectre. At least your mid isn't exposed. They can't immediately transition into additional buildings. But it won't take them long, because you can already see the creep wave starting to stack up. A catapult's coming in as well. And Ego's already moved to cut the wave.
Yeah, Spectre's gonna pick up 2 Bounty Runes here. Maybe sells his Quelling Blade or hits another camp, and then he gets his Manta. And they can kind of try to fight with that. But
problem is you're losing Moira's. Flash is gone. Scythe into his face. He has got buyback, so while this does look painful, I feel like HR made that move because they weren't quite sure whether he'd have buyback or not.
I also think that, like, at this point, you just don't really,
You don't care. Anything, you just kill. Yeah.
You get to use the Reaper Scythe as a Rubik, you're feeling good. You're like, hey guys, look at the death timer of this guy.
Checking out his death timer as well. No, the best one is when you use it on the owner, right? It's like the pure sense of irony. It's like, look at that Necro death timer. Yeah. He's been doing that to our boys. Actually, I think he's only done that to HR's members once, which makes sense because Necro only has 1 kill. And he's about to have another death. My oh my, how quickly he disappears.
How the turntables.
The table's broken at this point. All right, Bane. Takes a bit longer this time. They'll bring him down. And now use that BKB to run away. Very effective.
Yeah, now there's a Rubik with a Requiem. So.
That doesn't sound good to me. Shadow Fiend, gone. Flash, gone in a flash. And Ego is not done here. He's looking for a final kill to end this. The GG comes out. And if we thought game 1 was a little bit of a stomp towards the end, HellRaisers show us that game number 2 can be a stomp from start to finish.